So we just set up a simple movement, and then with patience, it goes deeper. You can't force it, you just have to be patient. So we'd like to feel the activity as close to the spine as possible. And then just tipping a little bit. And then just sort of combining them a little bit. So just trying to stretch over each leg. And then just a few pulling and pushing. So you can just link your fingers together for this. Yeah. So let's just try it with without the stick. Yeah. So just linking the fingers together and just grip with the fingers and just sort of pull. So you don't want too much force, just enough to get it to start sort of opening across the chest. That's it. So just work the neck and the jaw as well. So as you pull here, it's like you feel the jaw wanting to expand and open up, and the neck. So it's just freeing that whole, sort of upper chest, head area. Just getting you into a decent state for communication, really, for letting something out. And then just pressing, just pushing in to the webbing between the fingers, so you can really work it, almost like you're trying to make it hurt a little bit, but in the webbing of the fingers. And just feel this sort of just spreading across the back, across the shoulders, just a little bit. And then just pulling again. So just feel how little effort you actually need to actually make it start expanding. And then just pressing. And you can sort of work like, you can get the sort of like these two fingers and just really sort of work the webbing into each other. I mean, it hurts, but it's got like a good pain. And then like each set of fingers, each pair of fingers. And then just one more pulling. And then just one more pushing. Okay, now let's just, so just locating the dantian. So the thumb in the navel. Yeah, so when we actually touch it, it just makes it a bit more real. And now just breathing through the small hole. So sucking the air in. So make the hole as small as possible. So you really have to tighten the muscles in your belly to get the air in. So and then blowing the air out again through the small hole. And then just breathing in and breathing out. So the reverse breathing. Yeah, so as you breathe in, you're drawing air in. So you like to feel it's this musculature in the belly that's actually responsible for sucking the air in and then blowing it out. And you want to feel as though you're breathing through the anus as well. So as you pull the belly in to suck the air in, you're also pulling with the anus. So sucking something in and then forcing something out. Feel the kidneys. Yeah, so the belly draws in and squeezes into the kidneys. So now as at my maximum in-breath, my kidneys feel really swollen. And then just alternating. Yeah, so you have to start with the side that's contracting and then just let the other side expand out of that. So they don't quite happen at the same time, the two sides. It's the yielding that initiates it all. One side yields and then eventually the other side attacks. Let's bring it back to the Dan Chan. Just a figure of 8 around the feet, really. So we're trying to just trace the line through the foot from the heel, around the outside edge, through the toes. So just try and feel just how much you have to turn in order to get into the heel. Because we tend to just sort of drift. As long as we can see the figure of 8 in our mind, we're happy with that, but we want to make sure it really is in the body. Yeah, so just imagine you had like a stress meters underneath your feet, so it could really see where the weight was traveling. So I really have to turn here. Ooh. So if I'm going to get into the heel, it should really feel like I'm going to fall backwards to get there. Yeah, so here I'm drifting back before I then hook around in order to maintain my balance. And the 2 feet, sort of independent, both of the feet are having to really cooperate to make this trace. So it's not enough for me just to see it in my mind and then impose it. I really want the feet creating it. And then with the hand, just really reach out. Yeah, so here I'm reaching out into the world beyond me. So this is in the form all the way through, yeah? So every time we come into a leg, we generally swell that side. Yeah, so it always appears to me that people never really come out of their territory. Yeah? So in a sense, when the person's moving, what they're doing is sort of opening up a gap here and spilling out, but that's still their territory. It's still something, it's like a tunnel down which they are moving. And around here, they never really venture. So there's never really any proper communication in the sense of energy being exchanged. You may get words being exchanged, but words are a very poor substitute for energy. So we just want to really feel as though your arm has actually gone out through the skin of your territory, and is groping around outside of that. And just investigating it, just seeing what it feels like. And you've got to intend it with the mind. It's not enough just to prod your arm out. Yeah, so here it's there's a real surge of energy that's going out there, threatening to take me with it. Okay, so let's just bring it into riding horse. Let's just breathe it. So just trying to get some flexibility in the lower back, which we try to extend down into the sacrum. So there's a feeling that the sacrum is flexing and extending as well. And that directs the tail then. So remember, we want it in the mind, the intending mind. So the intention comes from the attention. So we pay attention, it's a payment. And we add spirit. And that enables the mind to move in a meaningful way. Yeah, so human beings, especially civilized ones, are basically domesticated creatures. So it's like we've had our wings clipped. We can no longer fly. So we just have to learn how to fly. And that's just spirit. That's just bringing the spirit in, the wild, fierce spirit. And that's something, no one can do it for you. I was trying to teach the firing to a student who I rather optimistically thought was ready. And it was quite interesting, it's quite revealing, yeah? Because just at that moment where she had to let her energy out, it's when she pulled back in and just basically because in order to let your energy out, in order to get into energy, you really just have to believe, and you just have to be willing to let yourself go. And that itself takes energy, that takes spirit, and that's what we've been robbed of. So in order to be, a functioning member of civilized society, you basically have to be depressed. You have to have lost access to your spirit. Otherwise, you kill something, probably yourself, but hopefully something else. Just drawing into the belly. So like the way the kidneys were expanding, just trying to get it expanding across the sacrum. Like the sacrum has got like a pair of kidneys in it, little kidneys. Ugh. Okay, so let's. And now just feeling the heels and the balls of the feet. So just settling into the heel, pulling in here so that your mid-back is sort of receding. Your mid-back down to the min-meng is receding backwards. So this sense that you're falling backwards, which has to be balanced by reaching forwards with the mind. And then just coming onto the front of the foot and just feeling yourself becoming this different creature. And then just rocking back. 1, 2. Yeah, so this sense that the more I can lean backwards, the more the energy sinking down the back of my legs will actually come forwards at the bottom here and cut under. The same way that the more I can sink, the more energy I'll get coming up. So always creating these circuits, these wheels. So to get my energy coming under like this, I sink back. To get my energy coming up, I sink down. And then just onto the toes again. Yeah, so now you have a different energy. Now you have more a sense of spirit. And so it should just wake up the space that you're in, not just wake up you. Because spirit will actually activate spirit. Yeah. So we're just trying to get it to the shake, that point where you just want to scream, and then just rock it back. Okay, so now let's just squat, yeah? So just use the legs to take yourself down. Don't just fall down. You know, so we should be able to just go from pulling mode in the legs to straightening mode. You know, so I'm pulling myself down by bending the leg. I'm bringing myself up by straightening the leg. So both equally active. If anything, the pulling is far more active than the pushing. Because when I pull, I need this sort of grip. I need this sort of action with the toes. Same way if I wanted to pull myself with the hand, I'd have to wrap my hand around the thing. I'd have to grip the thing. Whereas if I want to push myself away, is all I really need to do is just do that, is just reject. I don't need any grip. So here I'm gripping the ground, and that's drawing the ground up into my belly. And then here I just squeeze it away. And so, again, just feeling the two phases. So this is really just swallowing, really. Swallowing the ground into my own belly. And then just settle on it. So with no sense of just falling, with just releasing. Yeah. So just keeping the elastic taut all the time. So there's no slack. Now we want to feel the quality of the between. Yeah. So that sort of skin, that layer between you and the ground, between the sole of your foot and the ground. It's as though there's like a thin layer of sort of springy rubber there. As you sink into it, it wants to spring you away. And as you leave it, it wants to pull you back. So this is the sense of any connection. Yeah? It doesn't want the two things to just merge and become one, but it also doesn't want them to separate. So this is what we want to just feel. So in a sense, spirit is just like useful spirit is just like the working of a connection. So when the spirit is good, then the connection will be healthy. And now let's just stretching the legs now. This is really important. So just feel the ground, its closeness, your intimacy with it. So you're really feeling it. You're sort of really, almost like you could bend down and kiss it. Certainly feel it with the belly. And then just to the side. Yeah, so remember that bit in one of Chen Manqing's books where Robert W. Smith says to him, why is it that none of your students are anywhere near as good as you? Which is a good question. And Chen Manqing said, because they don't believe, yeah? And so it's, they don't believe that it's, softness and emptiness that produces the power, but really in a sense of belief, in the sense of spirit. Yeah. And so they just lacked spirit because they didn't live the right sort of life. Yeah. Their energy dissipates in daily indulgences. So for me, the best image of spirit that I use to explain it to people is in the Disney version of Peter Pan, where they've just met Peter for the first time. He came to their room at night, and he wants them to go with him to Never Never Land. But they say, we can't fly. He says, of course you can fly. I'll show you how. And so they lie on the bed, and he says, you've just got to really just believe that you can fly. And you see them really trying to believe, and they're just coming off the bed a little and then just flopping back down because their belief is weak. And then Tinkerbell flies past him, and he suddenly has this brainwave and just grabs her and just shakes this sort of dust from her onto the kids, and then they can fly. So it's like, your belief needs a little bit of a kickstart. That's what the teacher provides, yeah? But then the student has to really work on it, because the teacher isn't going to do that too many times, because she'll just become a burden. So it's just really being able to keep your vision constant and continuous, yeah? And so in a sense, spirit is like just your way, your unique way of just being in the world. Yeah. And only you can, no one else can do it for you, because it's only you. But when you get into it and access it and use it, then you're giving the world something that no one else can provide, because it's your uniqueness. Okay, and then now just standing on the toes, a la sumo. And now just going up. Yeah, so without sticking the bum out too much, yeah. And then just going down, but again, sucking yourself down. Legs really controlled. And then, yeah, so this is difficult. Yeah, so you have to maintain a level of intensity. It's like you have to really learn how to push into your limits with intensity. Otherwise, when you try something like this, you're liable to damage the knees. Yeah, so something in me is really forcing out, and it's that. My mind directs that force upwards. And now here I just suck in. And then just drawing. So the mind has to stay with it. If your mind wanders even for an instant, you'll lose it. Okay, so now let's just... Okay, now just really feeling the feet as these two separate but connected entities. Feel the cushion of the sole of the foot springy on the ground. Yeah. Okay, now let's just try so again, just really extending the arm and the mind out until you get to the point where the foot can be released from the ground. And then yeah, so you see there's always this tendency to fall back in. That's what we want to just somehow get a pressure in my intention that balances that. So one. So I've really got to intend in that direction. Yeah, so this is the form really, all the way through the form. There's basically this intending pressure that's squeezing out all around you into the space. Balanced by the tightness in the dantian, the sinking, the discipline that's drawing everything in. So without the discipline and the practice, you won't have that tightness that enables you to really press out into the world with authority. And just feel the foot, or that whole side of the body really. So really split into the two, the weight that passes down the outside edge and the energy coming up the instep. So the two sides of the body are like black and white. Yeah, so just try and get the mind all the way to the fingers of that hand. Rather than it just being an arm that's gone out, I'm really forcing, squeezing myself into that hand. So now let's just go down again. So just toes open up, and then I just grip, and that pulls me down. And then I squeeze back up. Yeah, so we want this to be like, again, an act of intention. So it's just a different mind. Rather than it being the mind that orders the body what to do, it's a mind of energy. So here I'm really squeezing the ground away, and then here something in me has to really open up in order to swallow it back. So for me, it's very much like the octopus. Imagine the quality of mind it would need to make its body take the various shapes that it does. So it's all mind. Mind and spirit, intention. Back. So belief. So leaf, L-I-E-F, it's just an old word for love. So to believe literally just means to be in a state of loving. So, you know, a lot of those words that start off with BE, you know, like before, yeah, and between, you know, so between basically just means to be of two, yeah. You're not here, not there, you're actually between, yeah, beyond, yeah. So they're all beautiful old words. Just bringing it up. Just feeling this area really flattening, drawing in, which is flattening the lower back and the sacrum. Yeah, so you just have to be careful that that doesn't tighten here. I once had a Pilates teacher come to my class, and I mean, she was beautiful, and she was really, you know, they've got the really trim belly, but she was so tense all around here and here. She just couldn't do this, yeah. So it's very localized to the tension here. It's just like an inner toughness, really, ruthlessness. The legs are always ready to just draw you down into them. Okay.